Hello, welcome to Yoga with Ian. Today I'll be looking at yoga in the home. Lots of people are doing yoga in the home right now because obviously this is where you're stuck, but you don't necessarily have all the right yoga equipment. So the very first thing, we'll start with a mat. A mat is nice, but it's not obligatory. This may come as a bit of a shock or a surprise, but Mahatma Gandhi and Buddha did not have loyalty cards for Lululemon or Sweaty Betty. They probably had an old cloth. Having said that though, if you are practicing on a mat or any surface, it's got to be grippy enough. Make sure it has got a good grip. You also don't want your feet on one surface and your hands on another. You're likely to slide. So wherever you're practicing, make sure you've got a good grippy surface. Synthetic carpets tend to be very slippery. And if you haven't got a good grippy surface, then don't do the things where you're going to slide, okay? Modify the practice. Do what you can. You can do simple stretches without the need for coming up and putting pressure onto the hands and feet, which will let you slide apart. That's the first thing. Next thing is straps, bricks and blocks. Unless you're a real yoga enthusiast, you don't tend to have these. But if you have, great. But if you haven't, not to worry. So straps, sometimes we tend to think of straps as being the very long sort of strap that I have here, the hoop. Well, they don't need to be. This one is a perfectly good yoga strap. I actually made this one myself, and it's perfectly good, so that when you are doing a posture like so, let me get this correct, so that if you are reaching round and trying to grab the foot, you can hook the strap around and hold it like so. As you can see, doesn't need to be a long strap. The other pose as well, which you might consider might need a strap for, would be something like an outstretched leg, like so. Good. Now, as a substitute, you can use a tea towel. Absolutely no reason why not. Does exactly the same job. Okay? If you're borrowing this tea towel, I do hasten to add, don't put it back dirty. Please, whoever the person is who looks after all the stuff in the house, they will not thank you for a dirty tea towel. So remember that. Good. So that's a simple enough strap. I don't actually possess a bolster. Bolster is a big thick wadge of material which is really good for lying down on and stretching your back out, opening out. So I tend to use a couple of things. I tend to use a rolled up bath towel, like so. Nice and thick and firm. And a cushion. Now for some things you may only need one, maybe the other. One of my favourite stretches, which is on the back, like that. Oh, and it's just a nice way to open out the shoulders. As you can imagine, it is very pleasant and tends to make everything go clunk, crunch and click in the nicest possible way. You might also, if you're practicing yin, I would thoroughly recommend this if you're practicing yin at home, because occasionally there are postures where you are going to want to rest your head and the mat is not enough. You might be at a bad angle where your head is tilted and you want it to be level. Bricks and blocks. Generally, we use bricks and blocks to give a little bit more height or extension. So if you don't have a brick or a block, say for half moon pose, okay, no reason why you shouldn't be able to use something like this. Perfectly good. Okay, or I have to say the kitchen tends to be the most useful for nearly all of these things. Smaller, good. Or if you don't have one of those, even an upturned bowl is just as good for stretching out and lengthening and opening. Good. Again, if you're not the person who's in the kitchen all the time, and you might be one of the people who is, but if you're not, then please don't use these and put them back dirty. The other thing is, these are plastic, okay? no glass, no breakables, a little bit of common sense there. The other thing is when you're practicing at home, make sure you have a good space all around the mat, plenty of space. It's not always possible, so if you haven't got the space and you've got breakables or sharp furniture nearby, don't do the poses that you know will bring you up to those breakable items or sharp furniture. Other than that, have a good practice. Thank you for listening. Namaste.